really seen much of Dreams, and it looks like he's come to perform.
Yeah, it's true, and we're going to have some similar bans to come through. M3 going to take away Jarvan and Nunu early on, but it is going to be Vi and Corki now being taken off the board from Snake.
Yeah, and maybe just not wanting to deal with, once again, that, I guess, hyper carry answer that they have in Corki, that lane bully. We'll be interested to see if Candy defaults to another bully, something like a Graves even, to try and once again just stay on top of that lane. But I like the ban Nunu, ban Jarvan strat. It really seems to play on Beast Mind. That is primarily his champion pool and continually taking it away.
Yeah, although Beast has sort of shown his hand at a lot of different junglers, we'll see whether it is going to affect him. Azir going to be taken off the board here from M3. They don't have the option of a Xerath because that has hit the bench as well. And I like the adaptive bans to come through, but there is one champion that has been left open. And we'll see whether Snake pick up the Kassadin.
Yeah, Kassadin being left open. I think that Rumble also being left open is something that
Lissandra being left open?
Lissandra, nah, there is a whole host of good first picks here, Atlas, and I really think that they will focus towards more of the mid or jungle at this point because there's just so much in the top lane, but as I say that, Flandre locks in, nah.
Yep, looking for that one, just taking it away straight away, and of course that is more of a pick away from Looper because he looked so strong on that champion, but now has to deal with the Lissandra in that top lane, and she's just so frustrating to deal with.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that we saw Looper was able to affect Crystal in a couple of those team fights. Had one very impressive now where he flashed into the dragon and was able to grab a 3-person, and that's a lot of damage coming out of the top and mid lane duo. These are the picks that M3 go for.
Yeah, M3 sort of look down their tier list of champions and go, all right, looks like Lissandra and Kassadin. No worries, we'll lock them in.
Yeah, exactly right. And at the last moment, swapping it over. Surprised that they took Kalista away, just because Lissandra is such a good answer to Kalista.
And Morgana hasn't been locked away for either team just yet either, and Morgana is almost necessary to try and keep Kalista alive, but it looks like Snake aren't going to pick that one up as Beast looking to pick up the Lee Sin, take that one away from Dreams as well. And Snake's aim looks to be, let's just try and make M3 do something different this game.
Yeah, and it looks like so far 3 champions are 3 pickaways as well. Beast picking up Lee Sin can definitely, he's shown he can play it definitely, but I think that more is how comfortable Dreams played on that. Of course, Flandre the same with that Gnar, and in the mid lane it looks like they will elect for a Kassadin.
Yeah, Barker going to hop onto that champion. We'll see what Dade can do in response to it. Of course, has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, does this Dade, and we'll see what he goes with this time in order to try and keep down Barker, who now on sort of this hyper-mobile hyper carry in the mid lane. It's very, very frightening, and we'll see whether they save his pick for last here as well. Of course, M3 still sort of rifling through some picks.
Yeah, I think they will go for the jungle here. Let Dade counterpick. I can't look past the Zed because there's not really a split-pushing answer currently coming out of Snake. And we'll be able to, I guess, give Barker some trouble in the mid-game.
Yeah, and Snake, now it's up to them to sort of round out this lineup. We'll see what they go for as far as sorting out exactly what their team comp wants to achieve. Looks to be a possible Janna Caitlyn lane, and this is the furthest down a pick phase that a Janna has ever gotten, as far as my memory is concerned.
Yeah, it certainly has, and that's an extreme bully lane. Janna Lucian is also very bully heavy as well. Janna Draven,
probably just the most bully heavy.
Looking for something to shove Candy around, and I think that if a Zenith Blade is missed in this bottom lane from Love CD, there will be pain coming out of Crystal and Ella. They have something to prove.
Oh, they most definitely do. And you know that when Crystal brings his Draven onto the Rift, you know he means business. And we'll see whether he's going to be picking up even more pentakills this game on that champion, and has a lot of facility to do that as well. Although with Beast sort of not on the Nunu, they're sort of not going for the hyper carry Crystal. They're just trying to have him on a champion that he can do work on in the backline.
Yeah, they're just running so many threats is what they're doing with the Kassadin, with the Gnar, Draven as well. And I guess this is the reverse. Instead of going for a peel-heavy lineup, there is going to be so much in-your-face action that on the side of M3 you have to peel for. If you get engaged on it, is terrifying at this point. The only thing I worry about is, and Crystal has a very, I guess, interesting habit to do this. He picks immobile carries into the likes of Vise, into the likes, in this case, a Lissandra. And now that a Zed has been locked in, there is a real chance that he doesn't even get to see a team fight if he is engaged upon.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about multiple threat comps. On the side of M3, they've got Lissandra. They've got Rengar that we saw coming out of Insec actually building a Ghost Blade for the second item, and now a Zed here as well as a Kalista. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, and augmented all that magic damage that will come through from Love CD. You have to say these guys will bring the pain. Both teams horrible at going backwards, though.
Oh, yeah. We'll see who manages to get the snowball that they need here, because you can imagine this game, based on who gets further ahead, it's going to go the direction of the other.
Yeah, and I think that is the most important matchup in this game. The Kalista versus the Draven. Can Draven shove Kalista around? Is Alla good enough on this pickup of Janna to be able to keep him safe, get Love CD away from him, and really bully the hyper carry?
And we'll see whether M3 actually go for standard lanes here as well, because of course, you probably don't want to be against a Draven in the early game if you're a Kalista, because she doesn't have all that much damage.
Yeah, you certainly probably wouldn't go looking for it. Also, the fact that Love CD just will roam so much more effectively on Leona, definitely would expect them to look for a lane swap.
Yeah, we'll see whether they manage to pick that one up, because, man, things could be dangerous. But let's see what happens as we hop onto the Rift. And we are onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, with Snake taking on M3. M3 have taken the first victory. Are they going to be able to give Snake their first 0-2 loss in the entirety of the LPL? We'll find out this game, and we'll see whether it's going to be off the back of Dreams, who's now on the Rengar.
Yeah, and he looked very good on the Lee Sin, was able to get the fight started. Good with his skill shot, so Rengar, similar champion, very good at diving in there, locking up a carry. Will be using that bowler strike, of course, instead of that Dragon Rage kick, but he had an impressive last game.
He did, but is sort of like the power curve of a Rengar going to affect him, just because you can't be as aggressive early against a Lee Sin on that champion?
Yeah, you certainly can't. Lee Sin does a lot of damage as well. Flandre.
Yeah, Flandre's found Looper here. Looper's actually taken the Q. Misses one there. There's the flash to follow here from Flandre. Trying to close the distance. One more auto attack. No! Flandre gets baited and killed for first blood.
Yeah, overextension there. Looper held his flash until the last second, and even if he didn't, that shield stacks up very quickly.
Yeah.
Flandre went very deep.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of tilt coming through on the side of Snake. That was a mistake.
Yeah, I can see why he did it. 22 armor on Looper. So he's a very squishy mage, but diving a turret level 1 is an interesting life choice.
Yep. Well, it was more of a death choice, let's be honest. But Candy's going to be spotted out here on the top side. Spear going to come through onto Crystal as he checks up here, but you can see it is going to be Snake getting that 2v2.
It gave a little bit of a chuckle as well. Some swag in the step of Master3. They're feeling confident going into this one.
Yeah, Ella predicting rain up in this top lane. We'll see whether Crystal can be the bully that he normally is. Already trying to zone out the members of M3. Love CD taking a lot of damage as the shields to come down onto Crystal up here on the top side.
And zoning away from experience is so important in Leona lanes. Leona needs that level 2 to be effective. Needs to be... Ooh.
Speaking of needing things, Flandre needs to stop dying.
They didn't even do a buff. They sent from the Gromp as Dade. Wow.
This could be more aggression. Misses the Shuriken as Beast comes around. Ooh, Flash actually blown from Dade. I think that Sonic Wave may have gone wide, but a bit of respect given to Beast. Is Crystal just going to pop that W? Still level 1 on the side of M3 as Snake finally get this wave to push in towards the turret.
Yeah, and now Beast looking for another gank. Oh, actually looking to steal away the red buff, recognizing that Rengar spent a lot of time on the bottom side of the map. Stealing that one away, has all of his camps still up as well, so some very early ganks coming out of the junglers.
Yeah, both of these junglers. I don't know whether it was because Beast actually left a little one up there over on that blue side, but you can see already, I mean, Candy's on 5 CS here in this lane, and that's actually a big deal because, of course, you shove in a Kalista, it's a little bit more difficult for her to CS under turret until she has a few points in that rend, until she can actually manage to execute those creeps under there.
Yeah, it certainly is difficult and doesn't really build that much AD, goes for more of an attack speed. Beast actually went from his Gromp to his Wolves to smite that, make sure it wasn't stolen away, and then went straight for that counter gank. Didn't go for a buff either, so both junglers, peculiar jungle routes at the start of this game, but it worked off very well for the Master3 lineup.
Yeah, actually, Crystal still putting the pressure on there, taking a consistent level advantage here on the top side as Love City's down to about 300 health. That Relic Shield helping as far as the sustain is concerned, but Dreams did head back. Does have a bit of an advantage here due to the fact that he picked up that first blood under that turret in the top side. But being 3-buffed early on is not a good thing.
Yeah, it certainly isn't, and there's not much you can really do in the top lane because Candy needs this farm, needs to be able to keep up, so we'll probably continue to focus Looper in that bottom side of the map, but now that the vision's being picked up, that's going to be much more difficult.
Yeah, Dreams is spotted out by a ward here. Some aggression to come down. Love City actually manages to bully Crystal out there just a little bit as he continues to farm up this wave. Ella just playing defensive duties up here. You can see Beast hanging around, wants to try and assist Barker if Dade goes aggressive yet again. With that flash on cooldown, he's a little bit more susceptible to these ganks, but with the Living Shadow there, you have to think that he's probably not going to die anytime soon.
Yeah, but what it has meant after he burnt that flash is that he started to once again fall behind in CS. Castanen able to bully out the Zed, who should have a much better early game because the auto attacks, Castanen trades very well with auto attacks, especially 1 or 2, but Zed's passive, especially if you're able to poke someone down with those shurikens, just tips him over the edge in most matchups.
Yeah, Love City moving forward to pick up that Relic Shield proc, and you can see Crystal still respecting the Zenith Blade to potentially come through. Love City must have a lot of health regen there in that top side, already managing to get back above half health. As Beast going to take away his first blue buff, and that red buff has been up for a very long time.
Yeah, it certainly has no, I guess, movement from Beast to go into the bottom side of his jungle. Might have even expected that this Rengar took it away because they didn't really have vision of him after he swept out that ward, and that would have been a good path to take, but means that Beast has been content to farm the top side of the jungle. He's doing completely fine, has been able to pick up his chilling spot, although he is standing on top of a ward.
Yeah, sort of displaying himself here for Dade in the mid lane. Crystal continues just to auto-attack relentlessly here on the top side. Beast coming through just to offer a bit of support.
Oh, what a smart... Oh, they pull out just at the last second. They were waiting for it, and that would have been a brilliant play if they had waited there.
Yeah, actually moving towards this other brush, and it might be Beast actually coming through to stay around there. Of course, Beast playing very patiently here. Is Relic Shield going to take away that cannon creep there as well? And Candy doing admirably because, of course, there's been so much pressure here on this top side. Barker takes a lot of damage from the second shuriken coming through. And Looper, man, he's just had his way with this lane. Flandre struggling quite a lot.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that's all the gold advantage that came through. Dade now with a nice roam into the bottom lane.
Yeah, Frozen Tomb to come down there as well. The Glacial Path just going to be thrown out for some extra damage, and he says, here's one for you, Dade. I prepared it earlier. Living Shadow is about to come back up again. We'll see whether Dade dives for this one. He's looking for Flandre. There's the death mark. Is he going to have the damage? Yeah, he most definitely is. Doesn't even go back to his ultimate, as he might actually die to the turret. One more hit? No, not going to happen.
Ooh, and will he be able to get back now? 2 members rotating down. Looks like he will be able to get out.
Yeah, actually, Beast coming through. Took a bit of a long way. Dade's out. No worries there at all as the Howling Gale comes through, but man, M3 still with so much pressure, and you can see they're just carrying the momentum into this game.
Yeah, and even more importantly, they rotated Ella into the bottom lane, which has allowed Candy to shove in this wave, and we'll be able to get a lot of work done here. That's a very, very questionable move there, because now that they've been able to zone out this Draven, a lot of CS dying might even be able to pick up a turret, and they've equalized the bottom lane.
That is ridiculous. Thrill of the Hunt going to come through. Ella actually going to tank that one up as he flashes out of the way of the Empowered Bowler. Crystal, of course, only level 5.
Through.
Yeah, Flandre looking to come up here. Dade's in pursuit, though, as well. Barker is level 7, does have the Rift Wall, can get in there as well, but the teleport to come down from Looper wants to try and come. That Howling Gale was godlike as Dade and Flandre actually swap positions there. Barker looking to continue the pressure. Force Pulse onto a couple of members. as Looper and Dreams take a bit of damage from that one, but it looks to be the disengage. Barker takes a lot of damage. There's the launch out as well. Somehow that Zenith Blade didn't connect as Beast kicks Looper back into his own team. There's the stand aside to come down as well. Every member of M3 so incredibly low. Barker picks up the first kill. Dade's dead as well. A double kill for the Kassadin, and M3 relegated to under their turret, but they may not be safe there.
Yeah, maybe not. The dive comes through.
Oh my goodness, Ella trying to tank it up for as long as he can. Love City gets healed. There's the Gnar into the wall. And the Adoration stacks finally get captured by Crystal, and a triple in the end for Barker.
Yeah, and that is absolutely massive. Equalizing the kill, gold back in their favor. They'll be able to pick up a turret as well here. And Crystal cashing in on those Adoration stack and gets his CS lead back.
Yep, no problem there at all. Up by 12 yet again, and able to now start this objective snowball at the same time. Looper might be in a bit of trouble here in the mid lane as, Frozen Tomb just coming back off cooldown. Barker not going to be able to pursue that one, of course. Gets a little bit low from that.
Yeah, and looks like now the map's settled down a little bit better. 1,600 gold advantage over onto Snake, who they were struggling.
Yeah.
Flandre was getting, he was getting picked on. He was camped a little bit. They really lost control over the bottom side of the map, but with those 3 kills, Kassadin is just so good at securing mid games. If you can get him going, he just becomes such a threat. And now they really have to go back to the original plan, split pushing with Dade, because they can't really team fight. Ooh.
Solar Flare actually going to land it at Barker here as well. Deathmark comes down. Dade tries to land the damage. Barker's definitely dead as he turns his attention to Beast for an auto attack or two before getting out.
Yeah, and really nice Z play coming through from Dade, but even better vision control from the M3 lineup. Those 2 pinks absolutely instrumental of being able to catch the Kassadin overextending and give another kill over to Dade.
Yeah, Beast going to use that Oracles to come through from the Raptors in order to clear out some vision here as well. This Sight Ward may not be around for too much longer as, the last attack is going to come through as a lot of vision being removed around this Dragon. Candy now split pushing here on the top side, but of course doesn't have a teleport to speak of, as Barker is going to head up there and try and answer that push. Flandre might be in a bit of trouble. Thrill the Hunt actually being used down here onto Flandre, but he's pretty tanky now with the Mega Gnar transform that just came through. And in the meantime, Beast secures the first Dragon.
Yeah, so they're able to pick that one up there. That was because they didn't have their AD carry, and I think they just, at this point in the game, a little bit weaker. Don't want to give anything away without that death markup. Can't delete Crystal off the map. So deciding to give that one up. The fact that they pulled out of the gank was a little bit questionable. Maybe they thought they weren't going for the Dragon. They lost a lot of vision, but in the end, that was a fantastic turnout for Snake, able to pick up the objective, lose nothing in response.
And Crystal now just bullying 1v2 here in the mid lane. You can see Love City still struggling. Dade down to below half health. Oh, Solar Flare only going to get the slow here onto Crystal. There's the Monsoon to try and keep him alive. Fate's Call comes back in onto the Draven as the Pierce comes down as well. The heal going to be blown. Crystal, is he going to try and turn this one around? Whirling Death comes through, but Candy survives and picks up the kill.
Yeah, and more importantly in the bottom lane, another objective falls in the favor for Master3. Looper bullied Flandre out, used his ultimate a little bit earlier, shoved him completely out of lane, and this Lissandra pick is paying dividends.
Yeah, and Lissandra just in general ridiculously strong, but able to capitalize so beautifully on this play. And you have to say it's sort of coming off the mistakes made by Flandre here in the early game.
Yeah, it certainly is. And a little bit of overstaying from the whole lineup of Snake. They're trying to eke out every advantage they can, and they're getting punished for it. The only lane that really is now, I guess, ahead is that middle lane. 30 CS and a couple of and a kill is very important for Barker. He really is the shining hope here. He needs to get his team, I guess, through this rough patch because they still scale amazingly. Late game, Flandre will be absolutely annoying to deal with, especially from something like a Kalista. So they have the tools that they need to be able to win this game, but really relying heavily on Barker to get them there.
Yep, Candy does have that Hurricane completed. Blade of the Ruined King also done for Dade, probably looking to finish off that Ghost Blade for his next item. But if we're comparing mid laners, I mean, Rod of Ages completed by Barker, it was finished by about 10 minutes, which is ridiculously quick. But of course, still needs some time to stack up. It's not going to be until about 20 minutes before that one's really at its peak performance. And so there might be a little bit of a lull here on the side of Snake, and you can see M3 already capitalizing.
Yeah, they certainly are looking to, and they've really committed to this split push, but we see how much damage comes out of Baka. He will allow persistent fights to go through that long, and is very tanky at this point, deceptively so. Roa always gives you that tanky spike that you don't expect out of a mage, so look for the team fights. If they're over quickly, a good solar flare into a death mark and someone just gets blown up, they're definitely in Master3 favor. But if these go for a long time, they're able to use the mini-Gnar poke and the continual slows that comes out of the top laner in the mid lane, get Graven chasing instead of going backwards. They just do so much damage.
Oh yeah, it would be really, really scary. And as you mentioned, I mean, both of these teams look fantastic moving forward. And so far, it's been M3 sort of forcing that momentum.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, once again, love CD. We praised him for his vision control last game. This time, a little bit more onus on the carry factor. He's got to be able to get that solar flare on point, get in there, use the Fate's Call to re-engage as well. We saw it used very well the last time around. I think a lot of pressure on the Leona player to be able to lock down key targets and be able to allow Dade or Rengar to get in there and help get rid of them, because it's not going to start anywhere else. They don't have a black shield this time around. Janna will be fantastic at peeling.
And actually, Dream's going for the mobility boots here. Doesn't have any tanky statistics just yet, so we'll see whether he does decide to go for more of that carry Rengar or whether he's going to be picking up potentially a Spirit Visage or that Randuin's as his next pickup.
Yeah, I would expect a Locket to come through here. Just such a good item. Allows him to stack up that Bone Tooth necklace nice and quickly as well. It's just overall probably the best second item you can go on Rengar. Just so much bang for buck.
Yeah, and of course cooldown reduction fantastic here for Rengar as well. So see whether that one comes down. Beast just going to take care of these Raptors as Crystal going to be pushing out this bottom side. Gonna head back. Has been sitting on just that Bloodthirster for quite some time, as that CS advantage is just gone. He's only 200 gold in the lead. Yeah,
and that was a roam that came out of Ella trying to catch Dade out after the first dive. Really didn't amount to anything because Dade was able to get away for free, and it did mean that Crystal was stuck there by himself for a long period of time.
Yeah, Flandre actually now clearing out this top wave. The Dade is very intent on split pushing. A minute until that dragon comes up, and Snake now trying to get some vision around it.
But look at the difference in vision. One team looking to get their split pusher going, really trying to pressure the map. On the other side, the other team wants the dragons. They're the team fighting team. So you can see both teams, 2 pink wards on the top side of the map, really assisting Dade not get collapsed on. On the bottom side, complete vision control for Snake over the dragon area.
Yeah, a complete ring around it here as well. They know exactly when M3 are going to come through and start looking for that one. Looper now trying to clear out this bottom wave. Brutalizer completed for Dade as the pickaxe is the next item for Crystal. Sort of his standard Archer build to come through. Going to be finishing off that last Whisper, you have to say, as his next item. Doesn't really like to build crit on the Draven. We'll see when he builds his Ghost Blade as well, because that's when he really starts to go off.
Yeah, it certainly is. It just allows him to chase forward even more effectively. We see a Giant's Belt actually picked up from Dream, so maybe a Warmog's armor coming through. We're seeing the resurgence of Warmogs as the mixed damage continues to come through.
Yeah.
Will allow him to deal with both the Kassadin and, I guess, the Draven relatively well.
Scuttle Crab going to go down for M3 though, so managing to get some vision back. They have a pink ward around that Dragon Pit at the same time.
And this is the danger of the wards that Snake produced. They know when they go into that area, but now that they're there, they're completely blind. As soon as Candy joins them, so they know they're there, that's the point, but they don't know in what area of the river they are. Good ward at the back of the pit, knowing they've started it up, and good positioning coming out of Snake to respond with a mid-turret push, but need to be careful here.
Yeah, M3, we'll see whether they decide to actually defend this outer turret in the mid lane or whether they are going to go for the dragon. Looks like the defense is on as Beast and Crystal get slowed down. There's the stand aside on a loop. He flashes forward. Crystal gets caught, and there's the death mark as well. He's going to die as the heal comes through. Dade finishes the kill, and we'll see whether Snake can answer. Candy tries to get the Renset, but doesn't quite get through. Baka still in this fight. Candy with the fadeaway auto to pick up Flandre at the same time. A 1 for 2 now in favor of M3. And we'll see whether they continue the pressure.
And this is what was always going to happen. IG-esque, every single one of the M3 members is diving onto this Draven. And without the Nunu, without the Mikhails yet coming through, they just don't have the answers to be able to keep him alive. Unfortunately, Crystal falling. And whilst Baka does a lot of single target damage, able to burst one person down. The Kalista, too much persistent threat.
Oh, yeah, and she just soloed out Flandre here as well. I mean, if it was at a point where this Mega Gnar is able to sit on top of a Kalista and make her life hell, as Dade might be in a bit of trouble. The teleport to come down from Lupa. Force Walls. Barker picks up the kill with a W as Beast now left to the wolves as M3 all collapsing and coming around. We do have Dreams in the backside. Flandre trying to escape. The Ren to come down onto Ella as Whirling Death gets a little bit of damage onto Candy, but Flandre yet again gonna fall down. Crystal, he's found his way into this fight, now trying to kite around, but he's a little bit late here as Barker gets caught by the bowler. Crystal's dead. A triple kill now for Candy. 6-1-1 as Barker. Buddy, you just can't just keep backing.
He will get the Rift Walk over the wall, so...
Oh, dear. Lupa might be called on here in order to come around. Another Rift Walk going to be available. Bowler not going to find it, but Frozen Tomb finishes the job.
And they pick up the Dragon just to add insult to injury. That was a dive that looked like it was going to be fantastic, but getting caught under that turret, bad teleport coming through from Flandre, and they really did overcommit to that one. So great collapse once again coming through from Master3, and we aren't used to seeing this M3 lineup collapsing as a unit, looking cohesive, being able to have the vision control. Dade, even though he died, saw that dive coming.
Yeah.
Knew exactly where they were, was able to get the message out to his team, and fantastic follow-up coming through. And Snake, once again, their lineup, if ahead and moving forward in these team fights, has fantastic chase lockdown potential, but they cannot kite backwards. They just don't have the tools to do it.
We'll see whether they can actually turn around the momentum of M3. Of course, only 4,000 gold is the lead. They didn't manage to pick up any extra turrets after that one, but did even out the Dragons here, as both of our teams now sitting on one stack apiece.
And who would have thought, Atlas, if you have a Lee Sin and a Janna on a team and there's no Morgana, saying that they can't kite, because that is a lot of disengage potential there, but there's just a Solar Flare, the Fates called Dade diving in there, Dreams diving in there, Lupa with all the lockdown. It's just impossible to get them off.
Yeah, and you can see Dade actually follows Barker over the wall. He does have the Zhonya's Hourglass available, but Fate Call finds him. And, I mean, that's a Kassadin getting locked down.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. Yeah, he gets rid of one part. Ooh.
Yeah, Ella's in a lot of trouble. Beast actually going to tank up the empowered bowler just to save his support, but losing Barker is horrible here for Snake.
Yeah, it's so much of their gold value, and as you said, that's a Kassadin getting locked up, just repetitive chain CC, able to traverse over terrain so well, and this means that M3 just have all the tools.
Beast is going to find the Sonic Wave onto Dreams around the side. They still have the pink ward advantage here, but Beast might actually get a little bit baited by that ward if they can see it. M3 just going to be backing here. Scrying Orb used from Crystal just to spot out that Baron.
And I like the back. A lot of items now being able to pick up. Dade nearly got the last Whisper coming through. He's going back to split pushing duty in the bottom lane. Candy, absolutely massive. Has another 1,200 gold to go back and maybe even pick up a pickaxe. Just some more raw damage coming through to go towards that last Whisper.
Gosh.
Maybe even a Blade of the Ruined King if he wants to go that double lifesteal choice that we've seen popularized so much on these Kalistas and just be able to keep himself alive. And from this point, even Lupa has been able to just get that far ahead. Zhonya's Hourglass and the Morellonomicon, he's at 35% CDR just off items alone. Going to be very difficult to deal with this Master3 in the mid game.
Yeah, so that's CDR cap and double stasis potential to come through from Lupa. He's hit that sweet spot on Lysandra, you have to think.
Yeah, and for this team comp specifically, it's so much better because never has to worry about ulting himself. Can always throw it on Crystal now. That is their job. Kill Crystal. Dade looking to do it again. Ooh, deciding a little bit against it.
Yeah, we've got Beast and Ella actually moving away from Dade as
Meanwhile,
he's
teams at Baron.
River. Yeah, they're looking to try and get that one down. It's down to half health already. Pinkwood to hop over the side here as well. And you have to think Candy on this Kalista, able to secure it from such high health. There's the Rend, not even needed as Dreams does have the smite. And first Baron going down at 23 minutes.
Yeah, and the Pinkwood over the wall, learning from last game mistake of being spotted out from that one. Just looking to pick up the Baron, and it is so hard to push into Baron minions at this point in the game. 23 minutes, they are so tanky.
Yeah, and 7,000 gold now the lead. So many more resources here on the side of M3. Snake totally on the back foot at this stage, and sort of Crystal gambling a little bit with this Draven. We've seen it in the past be so incredibly effective, but Dravens, when they're behind, it's not a place that you want to be.
Certainly isn't, and Kalista when she's ahead, wow, if you can't kill her, she just has so much persistent damage as those Ren sets come through. Just able to take over these team fights, and 7-1-1, being able to back up the freakish Corki performance. Candy and Love CD as a duo have been absolutely phenomenal today.
Oh yeah, after getting bullied around in the early phase of this game and not being worried about it, of course, just biding their time, and you can see now everything paying off. And the Fate's calls have been beautiful from this duo.
Yeah, they certainly have, and it's just, this was always the danger when you give Kalista that heavy engage support, because you can follow up with all the engage. They put a lot of the damage down onto Leona. You pluck her up, put her back into the fight as the re-engage tool, just even more layered CC coming through, and it's just such a devastating combo when used correctly.
Yeah, Dade actually looking to try and pick up this Krug as Beast takes about half of his health. Dade decides to go in on it. Flandre's around here as well. Dade picks up the kill. Flandre not even going to find the boulder as this Zed's starting to get out of control too.
And that aggression coming, ooh.
Yep, Ella, you are dead.
Even use the exhaust there. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, Fate's call to come down onto Crystal here at the same time. Barker's there. The flash out of the way of that Solar Flare. The Gnar onto 3 members as Whirling Death is going to finish off Dreams. Crystal gets adored as Loopers. Oh my gosh, that Zhonya's was fantastic as Candy comes around looking for the double, and he'll get it. So easy from this Kalista. Barker actually, oh my gosh, that brush juke from Candy was fantastic as Barker going to have to flash. The Pierce not going to find him. But that could have gone so much better if Snake had any semblance of a gold similarity.
Yeah, exactly right. That just came down to Candy being too big at this point in the game. Just so much persistent threat. And, you know, you have to give credit to Snake. They lose the games the way they win games. They are not taking a backward step.
They certainly are not, as Barker still here under this turret, happily farming that one up as Beast going to come through with a safeguard and try and protect him. Dade stealing away this red buff now, and 10,000 gold in the lead. They've taken the Baron, they've taken the dragons that they want to as well. And Dragon having just respawned, Snake still continuing the aggression. There's another death mark as Dade just gets kicked away. Oh, Barker, oh my gosh, that Howling Gale was amazing. And Beast picks up the kill onto Dade by himself. He's got something to prove this game.
Yeah, he certainly does. Dade actually failed his flash into a wall there as well, just to make matters worse. So a little bit of a misplay coming out of Dade after a terrific ultimate to dodge a lot of the damage coming through from Beast. And Snake, with that massive deficit, nearly 10,000 gold, able to pick up a dragon against the flow.
Yep, still bullying around M3 at any opportunity that they get, but that isn't going to change the gold lead one iota, as it's still nearing that 10,000 mark. Candy continuing to put pressure here in this middle side of the map. Middle side being just the middle. Base of the mountain completed from Love CD as well. He's gone for a Randuin's or that Frozen Heart potentially on this Leona, and probably wants the cooldown reduction.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see the Frozen Heart. Just very good against Draven, especially because Crystal's Draven doesn't build any attack speed, really relies on catching those axes. So, and we can see that when you build Draven this way, and it's a terrific build, don't get me wrong, if you aren't able to get those dual axes up and really get the reset on your W, it becomes hard to output a lot of damage. Does good burst damage. You saw the Whirling Death come through, and it was definitely part of why they went nearly equal in the last team fight, but does, I guess, punish you for the aggressive build a little bit if someone is in your face, like a Leona, trying to be that big bully.
Yeah, you can see Snake actually responding to this Baron very well. Of course, didn't lose any of their base in that situation. Just losing their lives quite a lot. Stade going to be able to take away that blue buff. M3 looking to see where they're going to put the pressure on next. You can see defensive pink wards from Snake in the blue side of their map, but on the red side, He's most definitely going to be covered in red wards.
Yeah, and I think now M3 just wait for the level 16 ultimate on Dade. If he can get that in the next couple of minutes, level 16 versus 13 for the AD, Dade is going to absolutely rip Draven apart on Zed, and just has the items to really be able to do it. So much flat armor penetration coming through, be able to nail those Shuriken combos, and he's looking to the point where he will be able to, even without the Solar Flare now, get in there and affect the team fight.
Yeah, and he only needs to land his first round of spells here as well on Zed in order to just remove Crystal from contention in this fight. And that could even mean that Lupa can afford to use that Frozen Tomb on Barker, who is getting a lot of AoE damage down in these fights, now has the Void Staff completed. Yeah,
and Barker's build is, once again, very aggressive. Goes for the Zhonya's Hourglass, actually allows him to get a second round of spells off, so even though a lot more burst damage would come out of a Death Cap in these prolonged fights, remember, Snake are looking for the forward-moving fights that are very, very long. The only real persistent damage out of the M3 lineup is the fact that they have that Callista. Everything else is really focused around on singling one person out, removing them, and then moving into an objective.
And Dade, more than focused on split pushing this game. I'm not even sure whether he knows what his teammates are playing.
I think they're going to look for a turret dive here. Dade actually clearing out that ward. If that wasn't there, I'm sure they would have looked for the collapse. Instead, removing all vision around this Baron area. That is up in 30 seconds. And M3 just have complete control of all of the map.
Yeah, there are a couple of Snake wards there on the map. You can see this is what Snake can see, and it's basically nothing. The members of M3 getting a free back here, able to prepare for this Baron. But Snake, I don't even believe, have the timer on, as they're going to now potentially go through and try and spot something out. They do have an open sort of, I guess, pathway towards that Baron River, but that's about all you can say as far as Snake's control over that Baron is concerned. They are moving up 4 members strong towards that area. Teleport available for Flandre. And Snake going to now try and get some vision down. This pink ward is going to fall.
And they'll even be able to pick up the Scuttle Crab. That's very important because you can't remove the Scuttle's vision. So nice move coming through from Beast here. He's been able to pick that one. Even chooses to smite it and just get the heck out. So Snake very much still to be respected in this game, trying to get control back of the map, using every little bit of an advantage they can find to try and stretch it. But when you're 10,000 gold behind, that's just huge to try and overcome.
Yeah, and we don't get to see this side of Snake very often. Of course, the Snake that's behind is not one that we've seen in the LPL because they have just been so successful coming through here. Only 4 losses at all as Dreams.
Candy threw a spear at Baron and just took half the health off his jungler.
Yeah, not very nice. Or was that actually Dreams jumping there? I'm not entirely sure.
No, it was Candy. He threw a spear over the back of Baron Pit, hit it, and then walked away. So,
still mucking around. Still happy to have some fun here on the Rift as the Ghost Blade's being completed from Crystal. He's got that 3-item spike to come through for this Draven. As M3 continuing to try and get the pressure down. Dreams popping the ultimate. Barker in a bit of trouble. Flandre is actually going to take the ult here as Solar Flare lands onto 2 members. Beast going to flash out of the way as Monsoon comes in. Look at that Fate's Call! That was insane as Crystal tries to get the extra damage down with the Whirling Death. Just going to be clearing out these minions. Barker, he looks for Candy. The Zhonya's is there, but he might be in trouble. Flashes under his turret, and he'll live to see another day. But 3 dead already. And Dade is just going to execute himself.
So Dade able to dive, picks up a kill, but has to execute. That might be enough to stop the Baron, but these fights going horribly wrong. The layering CC, purely from Candy and Love CD, just allow Lupa to get so much work done. And ooh.
Yeah, Barker, you're in a lot of trouble. Can't even Rift Walk out of that one, buddy. And that is going to be mid laner dead for another 40 seconds. M3 looking at maybe starting off that Baron, but they are going to back away.
Yeah, so they need to back away, get a quick shot in here. Will mean that Vision can go back in the favor of Snake if they swoop in and use this opportunity. Flandre once again going aggressive.
Yeah, Frozen Tomb's up again though, because of course 40% CDR is a big deal. Flandre about to evolve here as well as Ella and Crystal come round. Lupa unable to have that ultimate for the next few seconds, but you can see already 25% off cooldown.
Yeah, but I think Flandre will take that for this because Dragon's up, mid lane turret is up, and they're both very key objectives. Ooh.
Yeah, Solar Flare going to land only onto Beast here though, and the outer turret still does fall down. A couple of ultimates already used, but Fairly low cooldowns on those ones as Dreams looking to pick up the Scuttle Crab here in this river. Does have the Warmog's armor completed, as you mentioned before. Has got a Sightstone as well as that Hex Drinker, so really wanting to be able to help with this vision. You can see both of the junglers now having Sightstones, and you're certainly going to have one on Lee Sin.
Yeah, and you look at Draven and you think he's at the point of the game where he can start doing damage. That is a whole Mercurial Scimitar up for Candy.
My God.
That is an absolutely massive item. 3,000 gold, the lead between the AD carries. And we were looking to see how this matchup would go. It hasn't even turned into the MVP versus MVP. Dade's had a much better series, but the bottom lane has just been completely on point. And they're the lane to watch now for M3. When they're playing well, they look a completely different team.
Yeah, and this has just been incredible coordinated play from every member of the team. You have to say that, I mean, Looper's stepping up. He had some disappointing performances earlier on in the split, and Dreams now as a part of the team is really being that, a part of the team.
Yeah, it certainly looks like a more coordinated effort, to say the least. And now Dreams popping the ulti, looking to get in for one more team fight.
Yeah, through all the hunts there. Flandre is in Mega Gnar form, is going to be there for another few seconds here as well, so M3 not looking to engage. And that stupidly impressive ultimate is still available. And now M3 are going to take this opportunity to start off the Baron in full vision of Snake.
Yeah, need to be careful that Candy doesn't get low, because we mentioned that if he's able to get burst down, ooh.
Yeah, actually Sparker coming through there as the Whirling Death going to take off almost all of his health. Flandre looking to start something off, being annoying on this. Now, Dreams actually may be caught here as Looper manages to lock them down for a bit. Barker going slow. There's the Fates called Love City in there. Looper gets monsooned out of there as he ults himself. Beautifully played as Love City now going to go down. Snake actually pick up the first kill in this fight. Flandre, he's about to get through the double Gnar into the wall after the flash, and Snake are really turning this one on. Crystal with the double kill now. Stand aside, not going to find Candy, but he's the last one alive, and you can never count Snake out of these fights.
10,000 gold behind, and they come up with the win, and they just kept going forward. We mentioned how good they are at chasing. The persistent damage that came out of Barker in that fight really set it up. Fancy footwork for Dade to dodge the Gnar ultimate, but just not enough damage to be able to get through. And now very big danger zone. They're able to swing it out. There's so much gold left standing. As they pick up a turret in the bottom lane, they're going to pick up the Baron. There's still 3 outer turrets for Snake to use this Baron buff to take down. They can get back within 3,000 gold through just taking those turrets out. And let's have a look at it again. So they go forward. So many ultimates had been used, and M3 here just needed to get out. They re-engage because they think that Love CD and Looper have a good choice, but they just get kicked back, able to be kited because all of the ultimates weren't available. Dade didn't want to go in, Candy didn't want to go in, and there's just too much chase potential that comes out of Draven, that comes out of Cassidy.
And Crystal picking up a double kill as well as nothing to scoff at. Now has his own Mercurial Scimitar, so going to be evening out those damage items here. And you can see that gold lead has been dissipated at this stage. Actually, M3 still ahead by a fair bit, still 7,000 gold. But I mean, getting back by about 3,000 already is fantastic. And they now have the Baron buff on their minions as Flandre just going to explode into Mega Gnar form here in the mid lane.
Yeah, and he is absolutely massive at this point in the game. Just so tanky, bypassed pretty much every offensive item except for the Hex Drinker that against a against an AP laner probably isn't even considered an offensive item. And we can see still a lot of damage coming out of Candy here, but he's going for a defensive item. His spike is done. He's not going to get any scarier, just be able to pick up the Banshee's Veil. So really need to be careful now if you're Master3. They're not getting much stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, we'll see where the Crystal goes for his sort of famed Trinity Force last item on this Draven and continues that damage push on this champion, of course. Ooh, there's actually the Solar Flare to come down. Thrill the Hunt's been popped, but it may not be the layering of ultimates that M3 have been using just recently. Lacking the coordination just a little bit as the bowler goes wide there as well. Flandre about to get into that Mega Gnar form here as well. Has a lot of tanky stats. About to finish off that Warmog's armor to complement the Randuin's and Thornmail. And it's going to be Snake now being able to put the pressure onto this mid lane. They get the inner turret, and that gold lead something that we're going to be able to talk about less and less as this game's going forward.
Yeah, so they're able to pick up the first outer. Look for them to rotate around the map, be able to pick the rest up. The bottom lane is starting to build in their favor, so that will start crashing up towards the red side of the map. Need to be careful they don't split too far because there still is a lot of CC that comes through from M3, but the last couple of fights, M3, you're right, not executing the way they need to.
And not executing the way that they have been throughout this whole series as well. So maybe sort of feeling like they're throwing, having that feeling of, oh, there's the doubt that may have been in the minds of M3 in previous games.
Yeah, and now it's their game to lose. They're in the driving seat. They should have been able to close this one out. They had a 10,000 gold advantage and the Baron, and the pressure is on. You're exactly right. When you're not expected to win, you play much more freely. But now that the game was theirs to have, all of the pressure back on M3 here.
Yeah, and that wasn't the same story. Of course, it was a almost freak victory in their first win. Snake definitely the favorites in this matchup. But after that first performance from M3, you have to think that they had an opportunity to make this a 2-0.
Yeah, they certainly did. And now Dade probably going back to split pushing. But so many answers. The Warmogs and Thormail is being finished off from Nah. He's going to be very hard to solo out in a kill and can defend turrets. Kassadin, he's got so much damage in his own respect. So there's just running out of options with that QSS being picked up from Crystal, not even really able to get in there and affect the ultimate. So this is a problem with Zed. Very hard to get going in the late game.
Yeah, Dream's actually finding Flandre here. It's a beautiful Randuin's just to stop him from being able to get in. Flandre with the perfect Looper against the wall here as Beast comes down. Whirling Death comes through, but a brilliant Onions from Looper to help him out. Sparker, oh my gosh, the damage to come down as Crystal's at full health in the backline. Candy picks up Beast. But this might be the re-engage from Snake. Look at the force pulses. But Candy, he takes down Crystal. He takes down Barker. And Ella and Flandre have to run as Candy has just fallen down. Dade's up. A lot of damage as Ella falls down. And Flandre, the tanky man himself, not going to be enough. A close fight, but a win for M3.
Yeah, how close is this game on a knife's edge? And that's still with a 7,000 gold lead. I guess the only person that will get much stronger on this side of Master3 is Dade. He still is waiting on a major item and transforming that Mercurial Scimitar, but Love CD has been completely on point. Let's check out the replay. They go very early again, and Flandre looks like he had a good ult, but in the end it only hits Looper, who survives for a very long time. And then just all of the CC coming through from Love CD. Look at him repetitively try and zone the Draven, always the first person up, gets a fantastic Zenith Blade back over the wall, and just all of his effort is to shut down the mobility coming through, get in his face, make him drop the axe, get rid of all of the damage, and from here, continues it. More CC coming through, gets the Sunlight proc there, Dade able to clean up the kill, and it really is at this point who plays better in these team fights. Can Crystal outplay Love CD, or is this Leona going to be able to disrupt Draven to the point where it has no choice but to attack Leona, and in which case, M3 can really pile on top?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about what changed after that fight, I mean, Barker now has his Rabbidan's death cap, so maybe a little bit more damage. Crystal changing up his build a little bit. He's got a Giant's belt.
Yeah, once again, just looking to survive because he has a lot of lifesteal that comes through in that build and a lot of survivability through the Mercurial Scimitar. So if he doesn't get blown up, he has a lot of damage that can come through. I like the change-up. Puts him in a position where I guess he can be a little bit more reckless in the team fights.
Yep.
Also allows him to maybe even build into something like a Frozen Mallet. We don't see it very often, but we'll be able to keep himself safe. I probably would expect a Warmogs just for the raw health to try and get away from a lot of these assassins, but Looper Dade really need to get on top of him next fight. I don't think they can trust Love CD to hit 2 Zenith Blades onto the Draven to be able to secure a team fight victory. They need to blow him up at the start. Otherwise, Flandre, he's only getting tankier. And as you mentioned, now that that death cap's out, we'll go into a Morale-Nomicon last item. This Kassadin is just absolutely massive.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying trying to deal with Barker because, of course, these force pulses in the late game are just going to be ripping through M3.
Yeah, and Dade really stepping to the plate. Picked up the Merc Scimitar, but he's got another crit cloak in there, probably looking for the IE. This is the point where, once again, if you are brave enough to forego the Guardian Angel, that defensive item, maybe the Banshee's Veil, and go all out, Zed's auto attacks late game absolutely destroy with the passive on the W, just able to get so much AD through. If he picks up an AD, he will be critting for a lot.
Oh, yeah, and with Looper being able to reliably get members below half health here as well, that passive just destroying members of the team. And Dade has always been known for fantastic Z play, even in the late game.
Yeah, he certainly is able to position around these fights, doesn't have to split push as much as other Zeds, and now, once again, ult popped.
Yeah, Thrill of the Hunt to come through, but Dreams actually takes half of his health for it. The fight actually getting broken out. Flandre gets the ultimate here as well, as Crystal's going to die in the back line, and this could be M3 being able to make this one work. You can see that Fate's Call was incredible, and M3 destroy Snake.
Yeah, able to get both ultimates onto Crystal, just no hope to be able to get away from Looper and Dade at the same time. Too many abilities used on Dreams. That will be M3 pushing through, possibly for a 2-0, and they've done it again with a fantastically coordinated team fight.
Yeah, and we weren't expecting M3 to be the ones to take away Snake's sort of no-loss streak through here. This is a massive upset in the LPL, as Candy just more than happy to tank out some Nexus turrets. Beast, you are definitely dead as M3 plow through the base turrets, and I'm losing my mind. M3 really stepping up.
Yeah, and the impressive part is controlling the game. They had a little bit of a hiccup in the late-ish game,
yeah,
but they were up 10,000 gold, a Baron. They were able to get team fight after team fight in their favor, and a complete transformation, able to light up the split pushing path, the wards that were coming out, and the Leona play 0, 2, and 24. Love CD had two of the best support games this season.
Yeah, and not to mention Candy as well. I know augmented a lot from Love CD in his excellent play, but Candy went 16, 2, and 6.
Yeah, after a very rough early game, going into that Draven lane with all of the, I guess, added AD that comes through from the Eye of the Storm, and that was a losing lane. They tried to swap it, they got followed, but in the end, really good coordination and team play. I really can't emphasize how much that was spearheaded from the support position, able to dictate the flow of those team fights, and just, in the end, they crushed them.
Yeah, they did. They most definitely did. And Snake, I mean, they had a valiant effort trying to get back into the game towards the end there, but it just wasn't enough. And I think that Snake were about as surprised as we were to see M3 really step up. And they've got an opportunity now. We're about halfway through this. In fact, we're literally at the halfway point of the season. And if M3 turn it around, they could definitely be coming back. But after the break, we are going to be having our third matchup of the day, World Elite take on Invictus Gaming, and we'll see whether there's going to be some more upsets in the LPL.